This video was brought to you by Nightmare Gaming. Check out their Trouble in Terrorist Town server in the description below if you want a fast, free, and fun gaming experience. So, 51 subs, eh? Yeah. Um, yeah. If it's not obvious, I don't know what to talk about in this video. I've never really had a sub special before. So instead I'm gonna talk about some balance changes that I think would be cool for TF2. So I'm probably just gonna talk about heavy since that's the update that's coming up next. I think that there should be a fourth slot for lunchbox items, making shotguns viable. And if you watch Rob the Awesome, you know he had that idea as well. But like when the person asked that question, I thought of the exact same thing right before he said it. So, you know, great minds think alike, I guess. So yeah, giving him a fourth lunchbox slot would be cool. I think it would be a little weird getting used to pressing 4, but you know, it would actually give you a reason to use the shotgun. Since the Dalokohs bar sucks, I had an idea for that. What if it still granted you the health that it does, but it also gave you a passive regen for 10 seconds? Or, yeah, I think that's how long it lasts. So say it gives you a passive regen for 10 seconds, and it would work like crit healing, so if you haven't taken damage in the last 20 seconds, I believe, you would get 4 health, and then it would like scale down, or up, or whatever. I think that'd be pretty cool, and it would make it suck less. Another thing you could do, this is like a crazy outlandish idea, but, shut up. But, what if they made it so that you get 100 health for it, and that 100 health lasts 20 seconds. And then the thing recharges in 10 seconds, so you could eat another one. So, in theory, you could have 500 health for 10 seconds if you eat it, like, instantly as soon as you get it. But then, to counteract that, they could say, like, after it wears off, you're, like, marked for death or something like that, you know, just to make it fair. Or maybe just add no random crits, then it would be fair. The buffalo steak sandwich sucks. So I think, what if they made it so that it gives you extreme speed? Like, say you travel as fast as like a medic or something. Okay, now hear me out. Because, you know, people don't want to sacrifice heavy's only weakness. What if they make it last longer? Now you could say, what the heck, that's even worse. Because then, once the heavy rushes to the middle point, he will only be able to have his melee out, and since it lasts longer, he'll have to wait longer before he can actually take out his minigun. So either he'll have to run in with melee, or he'll have to hide behind a wall and wait for it to wear off. And depending on how long it is, it might actually just be faster to just walk, so that way it's like, you know, sort of balanced or whatever, kind of. And also, I don't know why it has a damage penalty. There's no reason for that. Like, a heavy running at you with melee is gonna take enough damage anyway. I think they should just get rid of that completely. The Hulong heater is pretty bad since it consumes ammo a lot and it doesn't even do what it's supposed to do, really. So I think if they like raised the fire ring, or maybe made it like a cone or something, so that a spy actually couldn't just jump over it and backstab you. Like, I know that that's supposed to be like part of the skill of the spy or whatever, but like, it's pretty much useless, you know. I mean, if you're standing on the payload and just like revving it, that's kind of its only use. But then again, a spy can still just jump over it, so like, if they raised it, I think that could help. And then, like, you know, if you're standing on top of a payload, a spy could get under it, or they'd need to like jump from a high place to be able to do it. For the Brass Beast and Natasha, I think they should up the damage resistance. Almost said vulnerability there. Or just make it so that you have it full time and not just when you're below half health or something like that. And for the Brass Beast specifically, I think they should give it more ammo so that it can encourage the more like century playstyle, even though that's a really boring way to play heavy. If that's, you know, what you want to do, they should encourage it more, because that's kind of what it's for, really. Like, I mean, that's what I use it for in MVM. I don't use it in game, but I think if they gave it more ammo, it could be more viable or whatever. And for the Natasha specifically, I think they could do something like, I don't know really, maybe increase the slow. I mean, I know that would make people pretty mad. Or they should just give it a taunt kill or something, because everybody loves taunt kills. Just like bash someone on the head with a minigun, that'd be pretty painful. Or maybe they could add something like damage over time, or it negates healing, or maybe bypasses resistance or something, or does increase knockback, although that wouldn't make sense on the Natasha since it's supposed to be like slowing people down, making them easier to track. But maybe the Brass Beast could negate, add more knockback or something like that, you know. I mean, that would just make it even more like a Sentry. But, you know, just something like that. Just to make these more viable, more usable. Instead of just making them like gimmicky defense weapons. But, I mean, they're pretty good in MVM, so, you know, if you just want to do that, feel free to use the Brass Beast. The Warrior Spirit is pretty bad. Like, you could say, does 30% damage, you take 30% damage, it evens out. The only problem with that is, you take 30% damage from everything, not just melee. So, I mean, I know that, like, the Fist of Steel is kind of the one that takes more damage from melee, but I think they should just, you know, make it so that you take more damage from melee, because it's a melee weapon. I mean, like, you're not gonna wanna run at someone with that and then just have them, like, melt you as a pyro or something. You know, they might not want to do that because that's kind of infringing on the Fist of Steel, the Fist of Steel territory. But I think that, like, you know, the Fist of Steel is kind of like utility, whereas this would be more damage. So, yeah. And then in terms of new weapons, I think it would be cool to have a lunchbox item, or at least one that would, like, go into the lunchbox slot if they add that, which would be a ammo reserve that fills up your primary ammo fully. So, like, even if you have a primary that takes more than 200 ammo, it would fill it completely. I think they could add this on Pyro as well, because they both have 200 ammo in their primaries and they don't need to reload and stuff like that. I think it'd be a pretty interesting secondary. Also, there should be a lunchbox item that's like a hot pepper or something that will make you deal more damage but be less accurate or something like that. Don't ask me how eating a hot pepper affects your gun. It's not important. I mean, if you want to get into things like that, into the science, how does healing someone with a medigun make their gun do more damage? Or why would you just decide, there's a 20% chance that I'm gonna load in a bullet that does 3 times as much damage, you know? I think there should be a melee weapon, sort of like the back scratcher, but not exactly that, where basically it makes the medics, it takes longer to heal you, so you can help them build Uber if you want. But it should have some down the side, like, you know, slower swing speed, or less damage, or damage vulnerability while active, or no random crits, you know, something like that, something really hindering. And I think it should only take effect when it's active, but then the downside also only takes effect when it's active, like, you know, something like damage vulnerability, so that you only do it when you're in a enclosed space, you know, something like that. So, just some closing thoughts. Valvo, if you're not going to take my idea for the buffalo steak sandwich, please make the speed boost stack with the melee weapons. Like, please, I mean, it makes you take out a melee weapon and makes you go faster. It just sounds like the perfect combination. I don't know why you haven't done that, but I think that'd be great. A random idea I had a while ago, which is probably a bad idea, but I thought, like, when using heavies, or any of heavies melee, since they're fist, if you, like, rapidly switch between right click and left click instead of the same one, it would just hit a little bit faster, because, I mean, if you're punching with both hands, then while one's reeling back, you can punch with the other one, so obviously it's faster than just punching with one, but not really noticeable, you know, like 0.2 seconds faster or something like that, you know. That was just a random idea I had, I'm not really sure. Sorry this video was all over the place. You see, kids, this is why you write scripts, and don't just randomly ramble, like I'm doing right now. But, thanks for getting me to 51 subs. Look forward to the future. Leave a like if you enjoyed and all that stuff, and, you'll hear me next time. Bye.